Hi friends, welcome to WebChamp. In this video, I'm going to discuss what is the encapsulation in Python. So let's understand what does this mean. So sometimes what happens when we have to deal with the data in object-oriented programming. So that data may be a private data, and you have to put the restrictions so that the data will not be accessible to the public, or it cannot be accessed by the all the users, okay, kind of things. So there this term encapsulation comes in a picture, and here this is about just hiding a data or bundling a data and its methods, the methods which are working on the data into a single unit, and that unit is nothing but class. Okay, so what it does, so it helps to protect the integrity of data by restricting the direct access. This is what you have to do. So you have to put the restriction so that nobody can access this directly. And what is the use? So sometime, okay, instead of getting the accidental modification of data, this is what we have to cover using this encapsulation. Okay, so let's understand. Let's see, there is a one class. If I say class is back. This is what the class. Let's say there is a variable called balance. So obviously balance is not accessible by all of the users. Okay, so if I say define init, init is a constructor, and here I will say self dot balance is equal to balance, and this is what you will get from the user. Okay, fine. So the moment you instantiate this class, you can have other methods and all, but let's discuss about the attributes only, the data, because attributes are going to hold the data. Methods are used for the different functionalities, right? So here, if I instantiate this class, so I will say b is equal to bank, and here you have to set the balance. Okay, let's say 1000. And then if I run this, let me go back and let me uh, call this method. So if you want to see the balance, so what we can, so we can say p dot b dot balance. Okay, so this will return us the balance value. So now if I run this py webchamp file name or model name dot py, okay, so you are getting the balance. Okay, but let's say this b is meaning we know that now he has a balance of 1000, and if he would be able to update his balance, what will happen? So bank will gone, right? So here if I say b dot balance is equal to 2000, okay, and now if I run this, right, so you are, let's say this is what the login of any bank object, that is what the customers, and if they are able to update their own balance, what will happen with bank? So we can't say, right? And this is the invalid, meaning this is what we have to stop. We have to put the restrictions on this kind of data so that it cannot be updated by the everyone, right? So this is where the encapsulation is required. So what does mean by encapsulation? Now let's understand. So you have to put the restrictions on this data. So how to put the restriction? So there is something called access modifier. In case of Python, okay, there is no term called access modifier like private, public, and protected kind of things. But yes, same thing is achieved using the character called underscore. If you do not use any underscore before the name of method or attribute in class, so that will be a public. If you use single underscore, that will be a protected meaning that is accessible in the class, and it's a subclasses, or we can say the child classes, or it can be modified through the child classes. But if you use the double underscore, it can be accessed and modified in the same class, right? So same thing we have to do here. I don't want to allow anyone to update this balance. So what I will do, I will not say this is protected. I will say this is private. Okay. Now, let's see what it does. Okay, you will be able to set the balance. Meaning here you will be able to pass the balance because that is the default one. Okay. But if after the instantiation, you will not be able to access that variable. Okay. Meaning you are able to, okay, because I'm setting up here. Okay, if I remove this, because b dot balance is created here, that's why it was giving the result, otherwise it would have thrown error. Okay, let me clear my screen, and if I run this, so you can see that bank object has no attribute called balance. It is saying that there is nothing called balance in the bank, the one which you are trying to access. Why? Because that is not a public now, that is not accessible, right? And this is what you have to do. So now, how to update then? Obviously there is a way. These variables, are accessible inside the same class. Okay, so what we can do, we can create the getter and setter methods for this. Meaning get method is used to read the data, set method is used to set the data or update the data. Okay, so here if I say getter or get balance kind of thing, I can write get balance. Obviously object is there, so you have to write self, and here I can return the self dot underscore balance. Why? Because this variable is accessible, even though this is private, but it is accessible in the same class, and we can use the another method. So we will not give the direct access to our properties or attributes. Instead of that, we will use our functionality. Why this is required? Okay, we will see. Now if I say b dot underscore balance, okay, even, okay, if I do not use this method, what will happen? Even though if I use here b dot underscore balance, still you will get the error. Why? Because, okay, and it is giving you the suggestion, did you mean get balance? Okay, so here if you use the get balance method, you will be able to get the details, right? You will get the details, and there is no provision to update this balance, meaning you don't have control. Okay, so this is what you wanted to show, what you wanted to what you can do is completely unroll the under the control of bank. Just assume the bank is our class in that case. Let's say if you want to update this balance, let's say if you want to deposit balance in your account, obviously they should, many banks should provide a way to do this, and there is a way, right? So you have to go to the bank, and then you can deposit or you can transfer. Okay, so let's say run return. So here return, I'm not going to return. Okay, I can return, but before that, since we are going to call this method on object, so I will pass self, and again there is something called balance because user is going to deposit the balance. So what we need to do is we need to update the existing balance that is accessible. Okay, self dot underscore balance is plus is equal to, this is what the balance will be deposited by user. Okay, and once this get update, I'm just going to say return balance updated or deposited kind of things you can say here. Then next is you have to try this method, right? So if I say print b dot set deposit, and inside of this deposit you have to pass the balance, I will say 10,000 as my deposit. Okay, before deposit, what is your balance? So this will return the first value will return as the what is the current balance. After deposit, what will be the balance? This method will give us. So if I run this, so you can see that at very first place when class is created, the balance is 0. I mean, let's say when account is created, balance is 1,000, and after that, after the deposited, your balance is 11,000. This is how we can use the encapsulation just to hide the data, put the restriction so that it cannot be updated accidentally, right? So like this, there are a number of things, and number of things are there in reality. Even employee salaries kind of things. Even though you are an employee and you will be able to read the data, you can see your salary structure, but you will not be able to modify it, right? So there is a reason. Until and unless there is a reason, you don't need to use this encapsulation concept. But yes, this help us to protect your data. Even you can, this is not only for meaning the underscore and a single underscore, double underscore is applicable only for the attributes. It's not like that. Okay, you can use that for here also. So if you want to put the construct control, so then also here you can use that on the method also, and that methods are again private. Then these methods are not accessible, and here you will get the bank object has no attribute called set deposit. Okay, so this is how. But what is the benefit? Okay, what you can do before updating the balance, you can put the validation here like this. So if I say balance is greater than 0, then you have to update this, otherwise not return, right? And if this is not true, this is not true, meaning if the balance is not true, so you can return something called else. I will say return balance could not be 0, could not be 0, or instead of balance I will say deposit could not be of 0 amount, right? So you cannot deposit 0 amount. So this is how you can return. I'm using else here. And what is okay? Else if I'm using, instead of that, if I use else, it will work. So if balance is 0, this statement will be returned, because if block will get executed. If this is, then this will be returned. Okay, so even I can write in this way also. Right, two return statements based on the conditions we can deploy. Then let me remove this, and if we try to do the same thing, okay, I think I closed the command prompt. Okay, so here if I write py web jump dot p1, if I run this, okay, now you are depositing 1,000, 10,000, so it is fine. But let's say, let me make this 0. If this is 0, if your deposit is 0, your message is deposit could not be of 0 amount, and your balance should remain same. Right? So this is how data modification is controlled with the help of encapsulation concept in object oriented programming. And you have to remember this thing: if you use single underscore, that is nothing but protected, but if you use double underscore, that is nothing but private member, and that is not accessible outside of the class. So you have to achieve the encapsulation. In that case, you will use the private members. Okay, so this is how encapsulation in Python works. Thank you so much for watching the video. Have a nice day.